All right, welcome back.
Alright, so we watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and if you're not like a fan of the Five Nights at Freddy's games or anything, you're not into the lore, the movie's probably not for you. But if you've been like playing the game since the beginning and you're like really into the lore, it's worse. So
That sounded so robotic, man. You gotta do better next time. But that's the gist of it. We watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie and it was real stinky, so we're just gonna make fun of it.
yeah, it was fucking awful, dude.
Spoiler warning, obviously, you just clicked on like a 1.5, 2 hour long video about a couple of man children discussing the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Obviously, we're gonna spoil it.
Yeah, you're really not missing much though. Like
Yeah.
it's not good. If you
It
haven't
doesn't even
watched
follow
it,
the lore. We'll get into it when we start discussing the movie because there's a lot to make fun of in this movie. But just real quick, for the sake of the review, I'm gonna be playing these god awful
careful what you when you
Five
click
Nights.
on.
Just I know what I'm gonna be clicking on. I'm gonna be playing these god awful Five Nights at Freddy's memes. I was originally gonna do cropped Rule 34 of the franchise as a joke because I've seen that on YouTube in like memes, just like Foxy like riding Freddy Fazbear cowgirl style while still screaming and high decibel like blown out versions of the Living Tombstone songs are playing in the background.
You were going like a million times more in depth on this description than what's necessary, man.
Look, this is important, okay? But I couldn't do that because when you look up cropped Rule 34, I'm gonna have to censor this, but yeah, it's not cropped, it's not censored at all, this is just
Full porn.
full. You said
Damn
the
it.
wrong word.
Take it.
We're gonna get censored for you saying that, but this is perfectly fine on this site. This
Yeah.
is just not even the
How many is that?
thumbnails are censored. Like
The first like 4 results is that?
Chica's nips are just out here,
Yeah,
and this is just inflation fetish stuff. All viewable by kids, by the way. None of this is like age gated or restricted whatsoever. So, yeah, have fun with these future generations of children raised on this weird fetish bait.
Wait,
We
look
can't
at this.
both use the things at the same time.
Look at this though. It says nobody below 8. No, it says nobody at the age of 18 can watch this.
Let's go ahead and click on this. This is going to be censored, so only we get to enjoy it, but wow!
Enjoy?
Wow! That's so cool that this is just on this website.
Yeah, like not even the thumbnails aren't censored, nothing. Yeah, fix this, YouTube. This is ridiculous.
Why would I want them to fix this?
This is over a minute of just full frontal nudity.
Of just full frontal inflation nudity. So it's also injecting, like, degenerate fetishes into the children that watch this. Look at this! This is so insane that this is on here.
Yeah, he says, "Look at this," but you
It's
can't
gonna
really
be
see
blurred.
it.
They'll
It's
be able
blurred.
to tell.
But
You know what?
I mean, it's on YouTube. Look it up. Just look
Just
up.
look up
Five
what we
Nights at
looked up.
Freddy's.
You'll see all this.
Five Nights at Freddy's Rule 34 on
Oh
YouTube.
my god!
it's
Foxy. Why is Foxy always a woman?
I don't know. The pink version of Foxy. I didn't even realize that one talked. That was weird.
That is gross. God, this is nasty, man. This is straight up like disgusting that this is on this website.
Yeah, this is like this is definitely aimed at children. Like,
I've already got it pulled up. We're going through the rest of this.
This isn't even like, yeah, this is sort of a tangent, but I think it warrants going into. Like, what are you doing? Is this also gonna be? Oh God.
You saw this one.
Yeah.
Look,
Luckily, yeah, this one.
I love this part.
I don't even
Ew.
know. Do you even need to censor that one? Because there's no nipples on that one.
I'll probably. This person's for some reason just allowed to upload nothing but content like this. Oh my god.
That was.
if you're like a child and you stumble upon this, I could see like this really becoming a bit of an addiction for you.
Yeah, there's only children are going to find this. There's no way anyone, like, no adults finding this, because an adult would just use, like, a regular Norp site.
The worst part is that there's anime versions. I like how she doesn't have nips, but they made sure to add the shading so it still ticks that box in your brain.
Yeah, when that thing kissed the camera, I felt like all the nerves in the back of my head fire at the same time.
In ecstasy, right?
No.
You like what you're seeing here.
My head wanted to, like, jerk away from the camera.
I don't think I have to censor this one.
What even is this?
I don't know what this is. This isn't a character from the game.
I think that's like somebody's persona that they just made into an animatronic.
This person's name is Bunny. Good job, bro. You really got the YouTube algorithm down pat. I'm just appeal to the budding sexualities of literal fucking zygotes. Oops, I cursed. Darn. This video's gonna get age-gated now. At least none of these are.
Yeah.
How do I get out of this?
Just hit the X, man.
I don't want to, though. I want to see more of this.
I don't want to watch this.
Alright, we can't have both the cursors on here at once.
Yeah, stop trying to play the videos, then.
Why would I stop doing that?
Because it's porn.
You're not allowed to say that!
You're gonna have to censor all this anyways.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to really put my nose to the grindstone for editing that. Yeah. That was a fun little tangent. Glad this website exists in the state that it's in. Yeah. And we're going to get age-gated if I neglect to censor one of those words or one of those videos, but they'll just be on here completely uninterrupted and fully accessible to kids.
Yeah.
And that won't harm the people who made them whatsoever somehow.
If they're going to have adult stuff like that, I don't know why they don't just have, like, an adult section of the site. Like, have something that you need to have, like...
People have been asking for that on these websites for years. Especially on YouTube. Because this site caters... YouTube is such a weird case. Because all the advertisements are obviously, like, pandering to adults. Because adults are the only ones with money, it turns out. But then, all of the content on this site has to be catered to literal, like, fetuses. Like, you're not allowed to say any swear words, you're not allowed to allude to bad topics, unless you're, like, a big corporation. Then you can just do all that. Or you're Sniper Wolf, in which case you can, like, dox Jack's films at his own house and fully get away with it. With no repercussions.
That is a huge can of worms that I'm not prepared for this video.
Yeah, this video is not prepared for any of that at all. I just want to say, very fun that we are subjected to the rules, but some random, like, Indian content farm, for some reason, isn't, and can just upload full-blown, like, adult videos to this site. Very fun stuff.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, man.
That was a fun aside. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that because I don't want to see that anymore. But now on to the important part, man.
On to lighter topics.
How much this movie sucks.
Yeah, it's...
a very light topic.
Horrible, man. So, something that...
Hold on, let me get this going. Perfect. This is perfect background for this.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. What is all this?
Try not to focus on it. We gotta stay focused.
I'm gonna be looking at this the whole time. I have a screen right in front of me.
So, the biggest issue, or I think like my biggest issue with the movie is that they had a pre-existing plot. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's has enough story to make a movie if you give any amount of effort. Because you could go over, like, the background lore, you could lump together a few games to make a movie. There's really no reason to have to create any more, like, movie content. There's no reason to really, have to create a movie exclusive anything. But they did. They made a bunch of subplots that have nothing to do with anything Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, there was this whole, like, burglar subplot where, it wasn't even a burglar subplot. There was like this. So the main character, the kid from Bridge to Terabithia, has this little girl living with him, and he is like really he's really struggling to hold down a job because he keeps going to like these post-traumatic episodes. Like the beginning of the movie, he just like runs down this dad and beats the crap out of him because he like grabbed his own son too quickly, and that set him off. Because like in the story, purple guy kidnapped the main character's brother, and so now he's all. I know I'm jumping around.
Yeah, we should probably like. How should we even start? Should we just, like, summarize the movie as we go? Because I can't think of any other way to, like, address, like, all the dumb crap that happens in this movie without, like, fully remembering what happens. Like, how does this movie start? It starts with, like, just some random security guy getting killed, right?
Yeah. They... Like, so in the games, the lore for the reason why the animatronics are dangerous is because, like, the phone guy says that they think that you're one of the endoskeletons and they're trying to put a suit on you, so they just cram you into a suit and it kills you. But in the movie, for whatever reason, they have, like, a suit in the back of Five Nights at Freddy's, which is just like a jigsaw trap. It's just got like spinning saw blades inside of a Freddy helmet.
They slap that on this first dude and then he dies, and that's like the scariest scene in the movie. And it's not, I should say, it's the only scene in the movie for like the first hour that tries whatsoever to be scary, and it's very not scary, which didn't bode well for the rest of the movie to me.
Yeah,
because the horror elements of this entire movie are just not done well at all. I cannot believe this movie didn't do, like, jump scares galore. Because this is, like, the only time that would have ever been acceptable for a movie to be addled with jump scares, and it didn't do it.
Yeah. Like, in the whole... Like, basically all the fear in the game is just atmosphere and jump scares. And they didn't build up an atmosphere. It was awful.
The atmosphere looks like a middle school play production.
Yeah.
Like someone just walked onto the play stage with their iPhone and were filming like these middle schoolers all poorly reading their lines to one another.
It's like clearly a set. It's not good. But like even like the dinginess of the animatronics in the game, like in the first game they didn't look that run down.
What is happening here?
Dude.
I think I chose the wrong thing because I'm just too fascinated by the dumb shit that's on screen right now.
I don't know why you find this sort of thing funny.
It is very funny.
Okay, man.
But hey, Squizzy, she's not allowed on the site anymore.
Who?
The girl who uploaded this got out. Who uploaded that last nonsense got outed as like a pretty violent, like abusive partner.
Oh.
To multiple guys. Like she would like threaten to kill people she was with.
Well, that's not good.
Yes, that is very not good. But I'm distracting you.
So in the first game, like, there's...
We really shouldn't get into the... I feel like most people understand the,
I wasn't like
plot of it.
No, I was going to comment on their appearance.
Okay, yeah, the appearance.
Yeah.
Like, how they look like they're made out of, like, mud in the first game, which helps them actually look scary.
Yeah, in the first game, like, they don't look all that run down, aside from Foxy, who's all torn up. But, like, in the first game, they're still in pretty good condition, but they look dingy. Like, you can tell that they've been sitting around for a long time. They look dirty. They look stained. And that's probably just, like, an attribute of the animation style that they were using. But,
I think that's just part of Scott Cawthon's, like... Because he accidentally made this game, basically. Like, he made a game, and...
It was horrifying.
It was horrible. But, no, I'm talking about the game before Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, that Christian one about beavers?
Yeah. And people told him, like, these look like horrifying, like, animatronic nightmares. And he was like, like, that just, like, set off every single neuron in his brain. And now we're here 15 years later, unfortunately.
What I was gonna mention about them being dirty in the game versus in the movie is in the movie they're like pristine. They're super
The whole
clean.
place is pristine in the movie.
Yeah, and it's supposed to have been like run down for years.
Like, the outside looks like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and then you go inside and the inside's just fine.
Yeah, mint condition. Ah, cool.
Oh, cool, we can swear now.
Yeah,
Shut up.
As if we didn't blow that immediately.
You blew it first.
I know. I swear way too much. But like, it's super pristine, and then also the animatronics are like obviously people in suits. Like they barely even tried.
We'll get to the animatronics when we get to that part of the movie. Like, after that security guard gets killed, gets introduced the single worst main character I have ever seen in media. Like, the main character of this movie is played by the one teenager who didn't die falling to their death like a moron in Bridge to Terabithia. And he was also in the Hunger Games, I guess. I also hated him in that movie.
Was he in the Hunger Games?
Yes.
Oh, right.
He was the idiot who painted himself like cake. And
Peter.
So Peter is a completely, like, degenerate psycho that we're expected to feel bad for some reason in this movie. Levi already brought it up, but the movie basically starts with him starting his job and then immediately just pounding a man's face into burnt lasagna because he just jumped to the conclusion, like, ooh, a grown man with a child, they're kidnapping them.
Yeah, because he grabbed his kid quickly, and he just, like, went off like a post-traumatic dog.
Somehow the guy and his kid get, like, a mile away from them, even though he started running after them immediately, and he tackled him into the fountain and started, like, drowning him while punching his teeth out.
Yeah, and then it, like, jump cuts to him in, like the, what is it?
What was that, a temp agency?
Yeah, it seemed like a temp agency. It was him talking to the temp agency guy.
He's talking to Shaggy.
Yeah.
Who becomes very important inexplicably later. We'll get to that.
By the way, in case you're wondering, like, for the people who saw Shaggy was in this and were like, ooh, yes, he is still good. He was actually probably...
You need to calm down with that.
He was probably my favorite part of the movie, and he's not in it for very long. So, like, if you're just watching it for him, still don't bother.
The cameos in this movie are funny when they happen, but in hindsight, they all genuinely fucking suck. We'll get to the cameos as the reviews go, but they're literally just like, hey, stupid child, look at this YouTuber you've seen before. Isn't that great? How long of this crap is left? Okay. But what happens after the temp agency? Shaggy tells him, like, zoinks, man, you can't be punching fathers' fucking teeth out of their skulls, man. That's crazy. Why the fuck did you do that, man? And it gets revealed that this guy has held, like, 3 jobs, never longer than a week. And he basically consistently has, like, violent outbursts or just sleeps through all of his jobs. And it's like, why the fuck would anyone feel bad that this dude lost his job?
Yeah, he clearly doesn't care.
He is a completely, like... How would you describe this guy? He's just like a menace to society. He shouldn't even... Not only should no one hire him, this guy should be, like, in a mental institution throughout the movie.
He's, like, clinically insane.
Shaggy, by the grace of God, offers him the perfect job for this completely, like, degenerate psycho to have. It's like, you work nights, you're never around anybody, you walk around this abandoned complex by yourself, and the guy, of course, goes, I don't want to work nights. I don't want to do that. He can't do that, but I'm going to go ahead and pretend it's just because he's being a spoiled brat. Because I already hate this fucker.
He could totally... The reasoning why he can't do that is because
he insists on sleeping.
Yeah, he insists on sleeping because they set up this thing in the beginning of the beginning scene of the movie, like after the security guard gets mulched. they have this scene where he's just like, he's sitting, like talking to his friend, I guess. He never comes back in the movie, but there's just like this huge dude.
Who was that guy?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it starts off with them like having lunch in the cafeteria, and he has.
Was that another YouTuber cameo?
I don't know. The dude was enormous though. Like I don't know if it was like I'm not sure.
Just because he was black, Levi's all intimidated by him.
Okay,
Levi jumped out of his seat harder than he did at any of the horror movies.
No.
Horror moments in this movie.
No, don't spread that.
Ew!
Don't.
Ew, ew, ew! he was just pulling his skirt up, got a can of bug spray in his hand. Ew, ew, black person, ew! But
okay, man.
That's way before he even like punched out the dad's teeth.
All right,
We're at the point where he's offered the job at Freddy Fazbear's, I think.
I was going to talk about that book they were talking about. Like the movie starts with those two talking about a book, and I was commenting on how big. Yeah, Dream Theory. I was talking about how big this dude was because it caught me off guard. I thought it was like a tiny book, but then when he hands it back to like the main character, it's a regular book, and then it cuts to him, and he's like 9 feet tall, and he never like returns. Like he seems important, but he's not.
Levi imagines King Kong every time he sees one of them, if you catch my meaning.
Okay, dude.
Levi's violently racist behind the scenes, guys. You really shouldn't support this podcast for that reason alone.
Man, you were really chugging along with this gag, aren't you?
I'm trying to get everyone to realize what a terrible person you are.
Damn, dude.
After he talks to Colossus and beats in the guy's skull, and Shaggy gives him the job, he goes home, right? We meet the babysitter, who's very important. Believe us, this character very much comes in clutch.
I didn't even get to talk about... it starts off with this book about dream theory. It's like basically the idea is anything you've ever experienced is stored in some part of your mind, and you can just return to it if you try hard enough or something, which is just not true.
That's elaborated more on like later in the movie, though.
Is it?
Yeah, like later in the movie is when he reveals why he reads all this dream crap. Like,
yeah, because he's trying to like figure out who killed his brother.
Yeah,
but,
in the beginning they were just like, "Oh, you're reading dream theory? I love dream theory."
Yeah, but like it's just like they set it up as though it's going to be like the premise of the movie. And first off,
it kind of was. It was just stupid.
It was very dumb. The whole reason he keeps like sleeping all the time is because he's intentionally falling asleep and having the same dream of when his brother gets kidnapped, so he can try to see who kidnapped his brother because he was there when it happened. Which, not how dreams work, not how memories work.
I think that actually is like a premise of one of the games. Like, one of the games is just like in the dream of a like scared kid.
Yeah,
so
but
there's premise for that in the lore, just in this movie. It's not utilized well at all.
Yeah,
I am sick of this compilation.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to figure out who killed his brother or whatever, though. In the game, I don't know. I don't think he was trying to remember anything. I think he was just, asleep.
Calm down. None of these games are that good. I was more reacting to the meme. Sorry. The babysitter becomes very important because it's. I'm kind of jumping ahead here. He goes home. This is after the temp agency, right? He's already been fired from his job.
Oh yeah. For like the sake of talking about this is a spoiler. You've already been warned. Shaggy is Purple Guy. I think that was pretty well known.
You're jumping way to the end here.
No, I'm not. I'm bringing it up now because on his very first appearance, like as soon as you see him, you're like, that's Purple Guy. And then he starts talking about this job, and you're like, he's Purple Guy.
Isn't his last name Afton on the desk as well?
No, he has like a different name on the desk, but like
it's like Sean something on the desk.
Yeah, it's
William Afton.
It's super obvious.
Ooh!
It's super conspicuous, and I guarantee that it was intentionally conspicuous so that you knew something was up. It's like, he's purple guy.
I don't think
Ooh,
anything really gives that away, but fucking
definitely
Shaggy
does,
was
dude.
literally credited as Purple Guy before the movie came out, so they fucked up their own twist reveal with that one.
Yeah, but like he's super conspicuous. Like the whole time he's trying to convince our admirable protagonist, I guess. He's doing like everything to make sure that the audience can tell he's Purple Guy.
I didn't get that impression from him at all.
No?
In the beginning. No, it was obvious he was supposed to be Purple Guy, but that's a big problem with this movie, is that if you don't know the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's already, nothing is going to stick well with you in this movie.
But they also don't follow the lore.
They also don't follow the lore, but you also... I don't know how they accomplished that. That's pretty impressive. Where you need to know the lore for the sake of this plot making any sense, but then they also fuck up the lore on top of it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at in the beginning. It walks a line of being so incompetent that it can't even choose one thing to be bad at. It has to be bad at all the things it can possibly be bad at. As a horror, it's bad. As a comedy, it's bad. As lore accurate, it's bad. As a completely independent thing, it's bad.
Like, PETA's whole fucking subplot for this movie is just completely tacked on, which, by the way, we're still stuck on him going into his house and introducing the daughter, so let's move on from that part already. I called her his daughter. It isn't revealed for like an hour that that's his sister.
Yeah.
At least not outwardly. I probably just didn't catch it at some point.
No, I was paying attention.
I was also paying attention, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me for the longest time, like, is that his daughter or his sister?
He just lives with this little kid, and like anyone who knows him as an actor knows that he's like very old enough to have a kid her age by now, and
he's too much of a pretty boy to have. I wanted like
he looks young. Like, he still looks young.
I wanted like a Kyriakos Grizzly looking ass fucking security guard for this movie.
Then it wouldn't be a movie if it was.
That would just be Kyriakos Grizzly like tearing the animatronics apart with his bare hands.
Yeah, that
and
would
then doing his weird little exercises with them.
rat,
What happens in that scene? I remember there's a scene where the babysitter, who gets revealed to be a bad guy, by the way, spoilers, goes, I wish someone would put a ring on my finger. And then she looks over at PETA, and he, again, has no reaction to that, which I figured was just him, like...
being dumb.
I figured that was him being, like, turning away her advances, like, I can tell you have the hots for me. Every single woman in this universe does. But unfortunately, I'm just so sad about my dead brother.
I thought it was supposed to be that he's so wrapped up in, like, finding out who killed his brother that he can't, like, move on, which would have been an actually cool thing to do with his character.
But no, they don't do shit with that. They just have her go, I wish someone would put a ring on my finger, and then that never gets brought up or played with again.
That's not connected to anything. Like, at no point after that does she have any sort of interest in him. And then, like, he doesn't have any interest in her. She dies, and he barely notices, if he notices at all.
We'll get to the part where she dies during the fucking break-in part, because that part was getting... I saw people praising that part a lot, but it's really fucking stupid and shit and not well written and bad. Yeah. And also stupid and ugly.
It was mostly just meant to, like, show that the animatronics were dangerous, but then they, like, ruin it.
They're not dangerous for the rest of the movie.
They actually, like, actively ruin their threat level.
We'll get to that part, too.
Yeah, well, I'm getting ahead of myself here.
You've been getting ahead of yourself this whole fucking review!
Yeah.
There's too much stupid shit about I don't blame it. This movie's got my brain buzzing right now.
Yeah, it's really hard to stay on track because it's all over the place with its plot, and because
I thought that was my cursor.
Trying to touch on any part of this movie, there's like a million other points of context that are only revealed like halfway through the movie, and you have to like reel back and try to figure out what it's talking about.
What happened when he started his first night? Was that when that...
He just fell asleep and nothing happened to him.
It kind of follows the games. Whoa!
The games where if you don't pay attention, you die.
He goes to sleep he doesn't get enough sleep at home?
No, he
What does this guy sleep just like 15 hours a day?
He takes prescription sleeping pills, and I say prescription because that's going to be important later.
Yeah, it does get important.
He takes prescription sleeping pills so that he can fall asleep more easily, so that he can have the same dream and interrogate his brother to see who killed him and stuff like that. But while he's at the Five Nights at Freddy's location, the spirits of the animatronics...
Does anything really happen the first night that he's there?
No, literally nothing. The animatronics move around, and I think he sees their ghosts in his dream. But it doesn't do anything. Like, they don't do anything afterwards. They're, like, at no point throughout this movie you feel like they're a threat to the main character.
Can I just point out that the kid playing Foxy, the thieving pirate who's all mangled and fucked up, was the only black kid? What were they saying with that?
I didn't catch that at all, dude. You're calling me racist.
I'm just saying I notice things. Subconscious biases of the directors and producers. What happens after his first night? Doesn't he, like... Because I don't think the cop shows up until the second night, right?
Dude, this is why I'm having a hard time keeping on track. Because, like, it goes off the rails
The middle of this movie is just, like, mud to me.
Dude, the whole... Like, it starts off bad and gets progressively worse.
Well, it's very boring as well until, like, the last hour of the movie.
Yeah, it's, like... It becomes so bad that you can start laughing at it, but, like, to start off with, it's just bad and boring.
Let's just skip to the part where the cop comes in, because holy shit is that bitch useless. She is the worst fucking character in that movie.
I have no clue why she was added. Like,
she was just
end.
a fucking lore dump. She was just like the Five Nights at Freddy's Wikipedia was walking around like, well, you see, William Afton, there are theories.
That is exactly what she was. I don't know why I didn't put that together, but she is literally just the lore dump for people who haven't, who don't know what Five Nights at Freddy's is. The parents who have been dragged to this movie.
On the second night, she just, like, appears like a fucking specter.
Yeah, she's a police officer, not like disguised as one. She's literally a police officer and just shows up at random and bangs on the door to get his attention. Mind you, in the middle of the night. It's a night shift. She shows up, he comes to the door, and she just starts, like, joking around with him. She's like, oh, it took you a while. Guess you were sleeping, huh? And then she goes inside and just spends, like, hours just... like bullshitting with this dude.
She's an actual cop, and she's just fucking around her entire shift.
Yeah, and then she continuously does that for the rest of the movie. Later on,
the guy's not like worried that this total stranger just walked in. Like, he knows that criminals will dress like cops, right? And sometimes cops. I'm not continuing that thought.
We all know where that was going.
Doesn't it get revealed after the second night that when he, like, goes home in the morning with a babysitter that it cuts to her in the fucking, in the diner with his bitch aunt?
Yeah. So basically,
I love the aunt's lawyer, by the way.
The babysitter who's like, I wish I had a ring on my finger. Oh, by the way, he doesn't pay her to be a babysitter. She just does that out of the kindness of her heart. So
she was working with the aunt.
Yeah,
but so
like,
really wasn't. But
she seems remorseful, which I thought it was going to set up like she was. I thought it was going to set it up that she was going to
set up some kind of like redemption arc for her.
Yeah,
or set her up to do something.
Yeah,
but in this diner, she's just like completely cool with the fact that this guy's bitch aunt and this insane random dude that she's with are just plotting to kill this guy that she's been like talking up this whole time.
I think it was her brother. Well, all right. So the main character does not pay her to babysit. She just does that because she's in cahoots with
with the bitch aunt.
And it implies that she's, like, interested in him. So, like, the assumption is that she's just got a crush on him. And so she helps take care of the sister. Which, you know, at this point in the story, it's not clear.
Motherfucker.
Like, they don't do a good job of explaining any of this. You kind of learn this belatedly. When she first showed up, I thought she might have been the sister's mom and he was the dad. Because they do such a terrible job of explaining who's who. But anyways, she's just a random babysitter. Don't know how they met. And then
I thought her and the guy were like boyfriend and girlfriend for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, because they imply it and then do nothing with it.
When she said, I wish someone would put a ring on my finger. I thought that was her implying that they were in a relationship, but he just won't commit to like a marriage proposal with her.
Yeah,
no, that wasn't what that was. That was just a nonsense line thrown in for no reason.
Yeah, it literally has no connection. They go to the diner, so they're...
The bitch aunt, her brother, and the babysitter make a plan that...
No, it's the babysitter's brother, I think. Not Don's.
So, but they make a plan that them and some random guy with them are gonna destroy that place, and I knew immediately, like, they're fucking, like, dead. Kill fodder.
Yeah, they're just
here for the fucking animatronics to kill something.
But I want to go back to the roster of people real quick. So there's the babysitter, who I think is her brother, who is a total psycho. The aunt of the main character is trying to get
They really piled on how evil she was.
Yeah, she's like literally... What's the name
Why
of that?
Why does she even want... She wants to adopt the daughter for the sake of... Or the sister for the sake of collecting, like, collecting, like, a check that I guess you get for having a foster kid. But the check is not that much. It's like $1,000 a month. And she seems like she's well off already. So her plan makes no fucking sense on top of it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and she's like cartoonishly evil. Like who's that?
She
girl?
is never not a cunt in this movie.
Who's that lady from the 101 Dalmatians?
Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, she's Cruella de Vil.
Cruella de Vil is way nicer and more charismatic than that chick.
Yeah, she's just like she's
like a white woman
evil.
Karen fucking like stereotype turned up to the 11th degree, and she's like trying to take this guy's kid away from him, which I guess we're supposed to not be rooting for, but he's also demonstrated that he's a bipolar psycho.
Yeah, and he's a terrible caregiver. Also, they reveal like at like the 11th hour of this movie that the reason why he's taking care of his sister at all is because his mom died, and then his dad just ditched them. And it's never explained why. It doesn't explain where he went. It doesn't explain anything. He's
just
like,
abandons his own children.
Deadbeat dad. And it's not, there's no like comment about spite or anything like that. They just move on like that's nothing. And it's frankly very strange.
Wasn't the... Hold on. So they make the plans at the diner. Then doesn't he start his second night? And that's when the animatronics start like actually moving around, but he doesn't notice.
Well, while they're at the diner, there's... Oh, yeah. Besides the aunt, there's also the aunt's lawyer. And while they're there, the psychotic brother is talking about a
just
plan.
Straight up, like, out loud being like, we should kill this guy. We'll fucking kill him. The aunt is, like, agreeing with him.
Yeah, and the lawyer's like, I shouldn't be here. And she's like, sit down. Which, like, if that's your lawyer and he's saying that he can't hear what you're saying...
He has no reason not to turn her in at that point.
Yeah, like, if he says he's not supposed to hear something, like...
You're supposed to listen to that.
You're supposed to listen to your lawyer. You don't just, like, drag him... What's the point of having him around if you're not going to take his legal advice?
I do love how he's just, like, a catatonic fucking beanbag chair... consistently, and then he'll just randomly snap out of it for no reason. He's like Joe Biden giving a speech where at the end Joe Biden just Roombas off the stage without like any idea where he's heading. But instead of that, the guy snaps it too and is like, oh my god, I'm a lawyer. That's insane.
You guys are contemplating murdering somebody. He's... I wouldn't, like, if I didn't know better, and you told me that guy was a senator, I would believe you. But,
enough about the diner scene.
No. There's still more.
How long?
So they contemplate murder and settle on breaking and entering and then trashing the place. Then while they're doing that, fucking Matt Pat shows up.
Oh, that was really that was stupid.
And he manages to slide in, that's just a theory.
I bet he ad-libbed that part.
God, I hope so.
that would actually make me respect that scene way more.
And honestly, I feel for him, because, like, he's kind of put in, like, a weird situation here, because, like, he's
at the opportunity.
He's at least, like, largely responsible for the popularity of Five Nights at Freddy's with all of his theory videos. So, like, this is kind of his like burden to bear as well. But also, he would have gotten
like
the script for this movie.
Yeah,
he would have gotten the script for this movie ahead of time and would know that this is absolute garbo.
He does not have that much sway over the process. Scott Cawthon...
No, he could have just chosen not to attend, but, like, I can feel for him for...
If you're just doing a cameo and it's going to be shit anyway, you might as well.
I mean, yeah.
The YouTuber cameos...
For the kids, I guess.
The YouTuber cameos, I already said this, but they're all such fucking, like, unmitigated ass.
There's only two that I know of, and I don't even know
Corey Kenshin... We'll get to the Corey Kenshin one when that time comes, but man... That Matt Pat shit was so the audacity to actually say that's just a theory.
We were pretty hype about it when he came on screen. We were like, ah!
Literally came. Ejaculated onto the camera. I was like, damn, that was a crazy cameo.
Alright, I think that concludes the diner section. Now
Finally!
You can move on.
What happens on the... That's the third night, right?
Yeah, so he goes to work, sleeps on the job again.
Isn't this when he brought his sister the first time? No, wait, that's after she dies.
That's after. So basically, he gets off of work and goes home, and immediately upon leaving, they go to Five Nights or they go to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Like, they just walk up to the building right after he leaves and use a crowbar to pry up one of the garage doors to get in.
Did anything of note happen on the third night? Because I think I stepped away while that part was playing.
I don't know if we're positive how many nights go by. I think there's implied nights in between certain areas, so I don't even know how many... I'm not worried about going night by night. I'm just going by story beats.
Did anything happen that night? Because I think he had like a dream revelation.
The night where the cop showed up, he tried to talk to Foxy, and Foxy cut him with the hook and in the dream, and then he woke up with an actual cut, which means that animatronic Foxy walked up to him while he was asleep and cut his arm and then walked off. Which is weird.
Or it's Freddy Krueger rules.
Yeah,
and just whatever also weird.
Which is another example of, like, not following the game rules. But anyways,
that's when they
and
all right, I don't remember anything from that.
The cop
night.
shows up and, like, dresses his wound. That's what that amounts to. That's pretty much it. That might be her excuse for, like, walking inside, but I don't...
being there.
Yeah,
why
but it's really
he questioned
flimsy.
At this point, like, why are you so, like, obsessed with this place, dude? You do your job, let me do mine. Fuck off.
Yeah, it's really weird. He's real comfortable around cops, too, especially, like, nosy cops.
A nosy-ass woman cop.
But
I don't remember what happens on the third night. I did see the parts where the people broke in and tried to... Early in the morning, by the way.
Yeah, like...
A nice, easy time to see them.
Literally, he got in his car and drove off, and then they got out of their car and then broke in.
He was practically still in the parking lot.
So, yeah, their plan was to break in, make it seem like a burglary and, like, vandalism, to make it seem like he couldn't do his job properly, to get him fired, so that his sister would be, being that he didn't have a job, his sister would be taken out of his custody and given to the aunt. Which
is also a stupid plan, because wouldn't the judge look at that like, oh, people broke in there and vandalized it when you weren't there? Well, you have no control over that.
Yeah, but, like, alright, first off, she paid them, like, $1,000 to do that, which... automatically is way more money than she's hypothetically getting from taking care of this kid.
These people are really cheap to buy their anuses, aren't they? Like, they're really willing to destroy this guy's life for $1,000 fucking bucks.
I mean, the brother was a lunatic, so...
Yeah, he was. He would probably fucking, like...
He'd probably do it for free if he knew he couldn't get paid for it.
So you're saying I cannot jerk off onto his clothing afterwards? I mean, alright, well, now I have to charge you money for this. But that's where the kills start. Which were also shit, by the way.
Yeah, but like, all right, so the break-in happened like so. They're trying to frame.
Kill. I saw the other ones.
They're trying to frame him for like leaving the place unattended. His shift ended. Like taking care of the building is no longer his responsibility.
Also,
and
didn't
also
they use a
later on
to get in?
That's what I was about. That's what I was gonna say. Like they bring up that he like left the place unlocked. But he used one of the garage doors and they pried it open with a crowbar. Like any cop, anyone who went there would see that the door was still locked and that they pried up the garage door. It is literally like cursory glance.
Even if he saw them pulling in and was just like, well, I clocked out, not my problem.
It's still not his problem.
Yeah, I would be like, yeah, that's true. That's the first time you've said something that made me like you, main character. Not on the clock, not my problem. Yep. Yeah,
but they treat it as though he actually did wrong, which makes no sense. And then
as they're breaking in, isn't that when all the animatronics wake up?
So it's the babysitter, the brother, and then like two randos break in.
I'm sick of this fucking shit. Hold on.
Two randos break in. And they just start like trashing the place, breaking open the arcade machine, stealing the coins, really regular stuff.
Chairs around.
The animatronics wake up and start doing like Poltergeist stuff, which is again not lore accurate.
Instead of just walking up and like bashing their heads in with one of their 200-pound arms,
yeah,
they for some reason decide to fuck around with them.
Yeah, they like make a fridge shake for a while. Also, Chica's cupcake is an animatronic in this one, which in the first game, which presumably this takes place in, the cupcake was not an animatronic.
I don't think it became an animatronic until the second game.
Yeah.
Bad lore!
It is bad lore,
don't
but
mess
also...
up my Five Nights at Freddy's lore!
But also, the cupcake has the highest kill count in the movie. Yes. You
and
heard that right.
And it only killed 2 people.
Yeah. It has the highest kill count. It kills one of the randos.
The fucking cupcake.
Yeah, the cupcake.
It gets the first kill in the movie, not counting the fucking stupid security guard at the beginning, and it gets the last kill, which we'll get to that one.
If you count, also the souls of the kids each correspond to one of the animatronics, except for the cupcake. I don't know who the cupcake
I never
is.
thought of that.
Yeah, I don't know who the cupcake is supposed to be.
Is the cupcake just like an insane automaton?
I have no clue. It might be an extension of Chica, but Chica doesn't have to be near the cupcake. The cupcake just sort of operates on its own. It's really weird. They don't explain it at all. But basically, the cupcake like chainsaws this dude's face with its mouth.
Don't know why it has those things built into it.
Yeah, Bonnie like teleports into a supply closet to kill this dude, which they can't do. Like, Bonnie was in the supply closet when the guy walked in, but I don't know why Bonnie would be in the supply closet when the guy walked in.
Bonnie
so I can only it's either Bonnie can see the future, Bonnie can teleport, or Bonnie's a weirdo.
It was just jerking it in the supply closet.
Yeah.
When that guy came in and interrupted him.
Yeah. And then
the third death was the dumbest one to me.
Yeah, so the babysitter,
right? Yeah.
The 2 randos died first, and the babysitter finds Freddy just standing in like the back room.
Isn't she running away at this point? Shouldn't she be more on guard here?
Yeah, like she's already aware something very wrong is going on, and she's trying to get away, and she finds just Freddy standing in like the supply room, or not, the like animatronic part room, and she walks up to him, like I think she hears a voice of the ghost, and walks up to him and grabs a chair to stand even closer to his face, which is the dumbest dumbest survival instinct thing I've ever... Like, it makes no sense.
Why is she so fascinated by Freddy's mouth? She practically, like, crawled all the way in there for him.
Yeah.
Whoa! What's this? What? It took, like, a minute for it to get to the kill.
I think the kid was calling out to her, which only makes it seem like she's a good person, because she's trying to, like, respond to this kid who sounds like he's in distress. And she seemed reluctant this whole time, seems to genuinely like the main character and the sister.
And then they give her the most brutal death in the entire movie.
By far, dude. Like, she gets up close to Freddy's face, and my expectation was that Freddy was just gonna, like, lunge forward and rip her face off. But, like, instead...
I thought he was just gonna grind her face or something. But...
Yeah. For whatever reason, the ghost kid's hand reached out of Freddy's mouth and grabbed her, which is,
that was
again,
really stupid.
Not something the animatronics have ever been demonstrated to do in the games. Grabbed her, and then with, like, the strength of Hercules, yanked her into the mouth of Freddy, which...
Don't know why he did that. She was practically in there already.
Which also, like... The mouth is not big enough to fit a person in.
No, it's not.
Yeah, like, it's debatable if you could fit a child in there. And it fits her entire upper body in the mouth, and then bites her clean in half.
That was, like, the goriest death in that movie, and you still only saw a silhouette of it.
I mean, it wasn't a silhouette. It just wasn't, like, you didn't see, like, blood and intestines. The legs just, like, drop to the ground, and then the torso drops to the ground.
Which, I understand that this movie... was probably always going to be PG-13, but fuck, man, like, seeing, like, a rated R version of this would have been so much better, because the plot of Five Nights at Freddy's is gory as hell.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that from this movie, like,
yeah.
That death was kind of cool, but you don't really see anything except for a silhouette and the legs plopping onto the ground like a wet steak.
Yeah, and every other kill other than... that one was really tame. Like, the first goon who got killed, you don't even see anything. The cupcake just, like, holds his face. With Bonnie's kill in the supply closet, it's just the guy's hand covered in blood hits the glass, and then you never see him again.
When that one guy was stuck in the security room, like, with the fucking cupcake stuck inside of the vent, I thought it was going to start like a Five Nights at Freddy's game kind of sequence of him, like, juggling between the cameras and stuff as, like, an homage to the game, but they never do that in this movie. Yeah. That would have been a perfect opportunity for that.
Like, the power outage, and then, like, the like, what is it, like, the what's the name of those chimes, that music? Like, the music, music box. Like the music box sound. Yeah, like, that never happens, which is a real waste, because there's one scene in particular where it would have been really, really, like, good to use. There's a few scenes where it could have been used and would have been good, but there's, like, one scene... Actually, it's the way that guy dies. So there's the brother. He gets locked in the security office... because the animatronics are chasing him. Like Jason said, the cupcake is coming through the vent. He's trying to hold it closed. But
he
like,
really looks like he's struggling there too. Like, they for some reason pretend that stupid cupcake weighs like 100 pounds or something.
Also, it doesn't have legs or wheels or anything, so I don't know how it's supposed to be moving around. Like, they really, really heavily sit on the like, whole poltergeist powers of the ghost kids, which is not something that's ever addressed in Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, they've never paused. The fuck? They've never had like, poltergeist powers, as far as I'm aware. So basically, that guy leaves the security room, and then he gets run down by Foxy, who has, like, this pirate voice, which is bad. It's really, really not good. He's like,
none of their voices fit at all in this movie.
Yeah. Rather than just being silent or screaming, that blood-curdling scream, he's just like, yarg, shiver me timbers, I'm gonna kick your ass.
It doesn't sound... Oh, yeah, it really sounds like that black kid's putting his all into that pirate voice. Why... When Foxy runs that guy down, by the way, he kind of just, like... like 0 frames in front of the camera. I thought they were gonna have him like leaping towards the guy, like some kind of homage to the second game, or even have him just running there. Nah, he just There's so many missed opportunities for homages to the games here that they just don't take because no one who actually played the fucking game was involved with the making of this movie.
Yeah, it's completely soulless, man.
It's
obviously
lost.
a cash grab.
So many lost opportunities, and the horror in that scene is also not any good whatsoever because everything is too well lit. It's too clean looking. You don't care about the characters that are in peril here. They all just die, and it's meaningless. It's like gore porn, but for babies.
Yeah, it's not even gory. And it's just to show off how dangerous the animatronics are. And then, like, a couple scenes later, it ruins
They're
it.
not dangerous anymore, but we'll get to that scene.
Yeah.
So that whole subplot is ended by that. That was the...
Almost. Later, after that, the cop shows up at the protagonist's house, which, by the way, she had no reason to know where he lives, and shows up unannounced. Just knocks on the door, and he doesn't bat an eye. He's not like, how did you find out where I live? He's just like, oh, hi, how you doing, Vanessa? Like, only at that point is it revealed that the little girl, like, we've been talking for a while, and only at this point in the movie does it reveal that the little girl is his sister. She's like, oh, I didn't know you had a daughter. And he's like, oh, no, that's my sister.
Like, wow, you couldn't have done that like an hour earlier?
Yeah, it's like, how am I supposed to get connected to these characters if I don't even know how they're, like, connected to
what the
each
fucking
other?
dynamics are whatsoever.
Yeah, I have no clue what's going on with these people. I have no idea what, like, emotional, like, I don't know what they're supposed to act like around each other. I have no idea what their relationship is.
Before that, the whole crux of that, like, subplot was when the babysitter died and he tried to get another babysitter. It was like, oh, well, I can't get in contact with her. And it's like, you couldn't have found any other way of him. It's also that the daughter can end, or I keep calling her the daughter. It's also that the sister can end up at Freddy Fazbear's with him, which it's like, you couldn't have found any other way of, like, getting the babysitter out of this plot. You couldn't have had her just be like, I have a tummy ache. That's all that needed to happen. But instead they give her this ridiculous, stupid subplot that concludes with her dying. And the protagonist doesn't find that out for the entire movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever brought up that she's dead.
He sees her body later, but I don't think he...
right. Yeah.
I don't think he ever questions, like, why is my babysitter just, like, decomposing here?
Yeah, why is she cut in half? Yeah,
they
never talk about that.
He loses his babysitter. That's the apex of that entire subplot.
Yeah, but the cop shows up, has that conversation. Then they go out and have, like, this meaningful, like, stroll along a riverbank.
Was she supposed to be a love interest for him?
I think so. Like, the babysitter was, like, set up to be a love interest. Then they kill her off immediately, and then they set up this psycho cop as the love interest. They have, like, this
bipolar bitch.
They have this romantic moment on, like, the like, river's edge.
That's where
talking about how his brother died.
Reveals,
yeah, but, like, either shortly before that or shortly after that, she confronts him on, like, the sleeping medications that he left at work, and she's like, sleeping on the job, huh? You slept on the job, and people broke in and trashed the place. And it's like, first off, that's none of your business. Second off, why are you here? Third off,
and go investigate the people that just broke into that place.
Yeah, if you went and investigated, why are you here? Like, there's corpses in there, man.
How does she know what those pills were for? She just assumed because she found his medication.
Well, because
you were sleeping at the job.
It was written on the bottle. Like, that's why I said the prescription, because it had his name and the description of what it is, and he had to. It happened before. She said that, and then he had to explain why he needed prescription sleeping pills.
You shouldn't be reading people's prescriptions if you find them. That seems like a pretty fucking big violation of someone's trust, especially since he doesn't trust this bitch, since she's a complete stranger that won't leave him alone.
Yeah, and then after that, like after they have their conversation, they relate to each other on their problems or whatever.
Isn't that where he
confides in her that he uses those sleeping pills to dream about his brother to try to figure out who killed him? She chucks the pills in the creek. She throws them in the creek. Prescription pills.
Like, you know, I can't believe more people haven't pointed out how fucked up it is that she did that. Like, what if he needs those?
Yeah, like what if he's like
what if you don't understand
insomniac?
what you're reading on that thing?
Yeah. You
To be fair to her, he kind of reveals that he's just doing it for the sake of that his ridiculous theory that he can solve his brother's kidnapping.
Which also makes it weird that they're prescription, because like it's either that they're not prescription and they're over the counter, in which case she has no reason to believe that they're his, or it is prescription and that would have his name written on it. In which case there's no reason for him to have them because he doesn't have sleeping issues. He's intentionally making himself sleep so that he can have that dream, which is not something a doctor will give you a prescription for.
How does he force himself to have the same dream every night? Also, how does he know
theory, I guess.
Also, how does he know he's reliving a memory and it's not just random nonsense because that's all dreams are?
Yeah, that's like the main issue with this whole idea is that that's not how dreams work or memories. That's what I was talking about in the beginning. That's very not how it works.
His plan, like every other plan in this movie, is very stupid. How long does that fucker sleep every day? Because he was also sleeping while he was at home.
Well, he was working at night, so he'd oh yeah, because he'd come home and then sleep. If you're sleeping
on the job
for like his whole shift and then comes home and sleeps some more.
How much of his life has that fucker wasted sleeping, trying to do this ridiculous fucking like R.L. Stein-esque like Goosebumps plot in his head? He's gonna feel real stupid when people explain to him like, dude, that's not how memories work. You kind of just remember a smudge of what happened.
The way memories actually work is your brain has to like make it up every time, and it gets less and less accurate every single time you do it. So he has probably ruined any chance of recalling that memory accurately.
He's also probably destroyed his brain fucking oversleeping for decades on end like that.
Yeah, also, sleeping pills are addictive, so he's probably still taking them because he's addicted to sleeping pills.
This fucker really, like, just obsessed over his... Obviously, if your brother disappears, that's gonna fucking, like, fuck you up, but this guy is such a fucking weirdo about it. He obsesses over his little brother for decades on end to the detriment of every other aspect of his life. It's why he can't hold a job. It's why he sleeps 2/3 of the day. It's why he has no relationship with his little sister. I love my little brother way more than my little sister for some reason.
Yeah. He neglects his sister because he's trying to figure out who killed his brother. But also, shortly after this, being that his sister or his babysitter was bitten in half, he brings his little sister to work with him so that, you know, he can keep an eye on her, but in reality he's just going to listen to bird noises and sleep, so not keep an eye on her. And he does this in a building that was literally just broken into. Like when he returns to work, there's broken glass on the ground still and no police tape. There was no investigation.
Yeah, this place got broken into and nobody gave a shit, and he was just left to clean up the mess himself like he's a fucking janitor.
Yeah. And
he's super fucking... He's ready to, like, beat someone to death at the drop of a hat, but he apparently won't stand up and be like, I'm not a janitor. That's not what I get paid for.
Yeah, and he's willing to bring... He blames himself for his brother's, like, kidnapping and death, but he's willing to just put his sister in this, like, way more danger. Because, like, as far as he knows, the people who broke in are still there. Like, there's no reason for it. He doesn't, like, sweep the place to make sure that it's, like, that there's nobody in there. He doesn't make sure that it's locked afterwards. Like, there's no reason for him to believe that it's safe, even if he's not aware that the animatronics are alive, which at this point he reasonably should.
I love how we're expected to feel bad for this guy that he can't hold down a job, but this is like the literal perfect job for him, and he sleeps through the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, sleeping through this job would not be a problem if, he wasn't also an incompetent idiot. If he, didn't leave his headphones on. By the way, him sleeping with headphones on wasn't just like a throwaway thing that I said. That's actually plot important that he sleeps with headphones on while doing this security job. Because he brings his sister to, the most dangerous place on earth to sleep over. He falls asleep as he normally does.
He cleans up first, at least.
Yeah.
Under normal circumstances, it might be fine for him to bring this kid there. Just have her, hang out so he doesn't have to pay for a babysitter.
Not after a break-in. Maybe if this place
Definitely not after a break-in.
If this place was, never visited and stuff like that, then maybe. But,
he's super obsessed with discovering the kidnapper of his little brother, but is perfectly fine subjecting his little sister to wayward... Maybe it's because she's a woman. Maybe that's his thought process here. Ew, cooties. Just mid-20s psycho. Ew. He goes to sleep while... He's supposed to be looking after this place. He goes to sleep at work with headphones in
immediately after a break-in.
While his little sister is sleeping in this place.
Yeah.
And this is the part where he wakes up and...
She's screaming. He wakes up to her screaming. She's screaming so loud that he can hear it through his headphones. He wakes up, runs out into the main area, and she is surrounded by all of the animatronics.
This is the reveal to him that these things are alive.
Yeah.
And they're tickling his... He doesn't know this, but they're, surrounding his sister... And for all he knows, they're pulling her apart like fucking pork. And she's screaming her head off for some reason. And then it gets revealed, oh, they're just playing with me.
Yeah, they were just tickling her, which, immediately
I don't know how robots
the threat.
would tickle you.
Yeah, their fingers are not that dexterous or tickly. It would be like...
They would probably, peel skin off by accident trying to do it.
It would be like somebody trying to tickle you with, a pinball paddle.
This part of the movie is so fucking ridiculous. This is like a 9-year-old wrote Five Nights at Freddy's fan fiction of all of them being their best friend, and for some reason that made it into this movie.
Yeah, it is really bad. It's one of my least favorite scene happens right here. So they make going there just a regular occurrence now. That's just the norm. I think it happens for another night or two.
I think it only happens one more night.
Well, whatever.
All the tension they built up showing these things as being killing machines is immediately thrown out the door.
Yeah,
by showing them tickling this little girl
and being completely harmless. They completely diffuse any threat they had,
which would be fine if the scenes were directed better, but they're not. There are points where they're looking at her brother and they're supposed to come off as intimidating, but they're just not scary looking at all.
Yeah.
Literally all you need is some lighting tricks and some tricks with the camera, filming them from underneath to show how big they are. And they don't do anything like that because it seems like whoever directed this movie just has no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, also make them dirty so they look, a bit unhinged.
People were praising the, practical effects of this movie. I think they look like shit.
They are definitely shit.
I think they look fucking awful.
It's obvious that they're people in suits. You can see the fabric at their joints and stuff
They
like that.
don't move how they should.
Yeah, it's clearly somebody trying to, move like a robot, but you can tell,
not doing it well.
Yeah, it's not...
they overshoot it constantly. When they're trying to look heavy, they still keep moving a little. All their costumes jiggle around like fucking Party City nonsense.
Yeah, it's very unconvincing.
And they add sound effects because you can tell looking at these suits that these things probably weigh like 30 pounds and are made of styrofoam.
Yeah.
Like, they're not as heavy as they should be, but they add these really terrible, like, clunking sound effects to give the impression that they're supposed to be heavy.
Yeah, and it's, not good.
I guess that was all people need because fucking everyone's praising the practical effects. It's cool that this movie used practical effects, but it still looked like shit, so I'm not going to praise it for that.
They could have used practical effects and just built a simple puppet that would have been more realistically animatronic.
Foxy, I love how Foxy is never moving with the other characters because he's clearly like some kind of puppet rig.
Yeah, because you can't have a person in that suit. He's wireframe.
Yeah.
If they had just capitalized on that and, made them look clunky. Like,
what if they had like a double leg amputee inside of there and he's like balancing on his stilts with the other characters, but he's clearly like wobbling.
After that, so they start like having sleepovers at
Doesn't the cop show up at this scene as well?
Yeah, I think on the second night the cop shows up and they start having like this like fun time.
She gives him a game theory lore dump on the fact that these are like children's souls inside of these things.
And what was it? They just start like having fun, like joking around and stuff like that. And
that shit is ridiculous.
They start playing the animatronics start singing a song and stuff like that and doing, which sounds really like it's really weird hearing like a regular voice come out of Freddy because he's supposed to have like the
not
voice.
Even that, he's supposed to sound like kind of like Smokey the Bear.
Yeah, that's kind of what I imagined him sounding like.
But they have him sing like a fucking like 90s boy band member in this movie for some reason.
Yeah, which I was willing to overlook that until like what happened after that, which is they're having like their big sleepover.
The cop is like
the kid decides to make a pillow for it, and the animatronics help. And I almost burst a blood vessel because Bonnie falls over at one point, like stiffly just falls on her back, and then gets like. While she's on the floor, the camera pans over, and she looks at the camera and then gives a thumbs up. I actually don't know if Bonnie's a she. He? I don't know.
Bonnie is a he.
Okay, well, he.
That's part of the lore, man.
Dude, I don't care.
If you get this fucking lore wrong one more time, I swear to fuck.
He looks at the camera and then gives a thumbs up, and then it continues with the pillow fort montage. And, dude... It was so painful to watch. It was so bad. I lost all respect for the animatronics as a threat. Like from that point on, there was no way I could possibly perceive these things. As a threat. That's
what I mean when I say these things are like an 11-year-old's fanfic because they're just buddies for the like majority of this movie. They're not threatening whatsoever, and the terrible directing certainly doesn't help that. You could have had these things be friendly with a kid, but still make them imposing when like an adult's looking at them.
Yeah.
Which they tried to do, but super half-baked and not well executed whatsoever.
Yeah, because the adults just like hang out with the girl while the animatronics are hanging out with the kid, and it's nothing happens. Like it automatically diffuses all the tension. But after that is when like the real like twists start popping off, and like you start seeing like the real what are you holding your hand out?
There was something. Remember the cop was like thanking him for hanging out with them and being like, "I'm really glad you brought her here." But then she strums Bonnie's guitar, and it apparently was being ran through a fucking power line because it just exploded. And the girl woke up and she was perfectly fine. Like the cop, her brother, and the fucking animatronics are standing over her to make sure she's okay. And then the cop just, I can't snap. I can't fucking do it. Okay, we're not gonna address that. The cop just snaps on a dime after this and is like, if you ever bring her back here, I'll shoot you. And it's like, all right, Copper, settle down a bit. I know you've probably been holding that in this whole time.
That's not an exaggeration by the way. She literally threatens to shoot him if he brings her back here because he was irresponsible for letting her roam around.
You were just cool with us being here.
Yeah, you were just talking about how it's fine. Also, when
that bitch is insane, dude.
Bonnie's guitar is live, like it has live electricity going through it.
You never expected a kid to run up there and strum the guitar?
Had enough power to throw sparks when she touched it and throw her back several feet, but not obliterate her hand and kill her. And later on in the movie, it's revealed that if you electrocute the animatronics, they are stunned.
That's so stupid. I didn't even think of that.
So Bonnie strums this guitar all day, electrocuting himself.
Maybe he doesn't strum it.
He's still carrying around like several thousand volts of electricity.
Like, that threw her like a dozen feet from the stage.
Yeah, like a ton of electricity is going through that thing, and then later on, a regular taser is capable of like taking down one of these animatronics.
Spoilers, man.
Which, by the way, very not possible. Like
I think the
padding on these things is too thick to allow a regular taser to tase these.
I'm pretty sure their padding is made of like fiberglass. I don't think electricity could pass through them.
No, if anything, it would be like you can see in like I think the third game, Springtrap's suit is clearly made out of fiberglass. Like it was burnt, so most of like the fluff is gone. But it's clearly fiberglass underneath. So it's fiberglass and then, I don't know, asbestos padding or something like that.
Probably.
It's the 80s. So.
Yeah, there's probably like just tons of asbestos. We compacted more asbestos and then filled it with dust. Don't breathe in too hard.
Yeah.
You start coughing wildly. We don't know why.
So they're basically Terminators wearing riot gear. So no, a taser would not work on them.
Yeah, these things are actually like legitimately they're like fucking 8 or 9 feet tall.
Yeah,
and they have the strength of robots.
They don't capitalize on that.
No, that does not come across at all in this movie.
They focus more on the poltergeist parts, which is my least favorite form of supernatural horror.
The most screen time these things had was playing fucking patty cake with that little girl. It's ridiculous.
Shortly after that, I think he goes to sleep again and makes a deal with the ghost kids. The kids say like they'll like help him figure out who killed his brother, and in exchange he'll give them whatever they want, which is it's obvious where that's going. They want the girl. They want the girl.
Does that happen first, or does he like invite his bitch aunt to babysit her?
I don't remember. As the movie goes on, it just becomes more and more diarrhea, and it's really hard to keep track of where the story beats are. So I'm just gonna throw this out in a big clump. I have no idea what happens.
It's sort of like filth settling to the bottom of like a bottle of water, where it becomes harder and harder to see through the fucking muck as you move down.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened at what point because it's just so incoherent.
We were like intently watching this movie, and the shit that happens just becomes muck at this point, so forgive us a bit. But I think what happens at this point is, since he's been threatened to be shot if he brings this little girl with him he's probably just like, where the fuck did that come from? Well, anyway, so he invites his bitch aunt. You don't know any other people that can watch this girl, dude?
Like your dad, who's still alive? The fucking
who knows where that fucking loser is?
Yeah. They don't bring it up.
Fuck that guy. I can understand why he wouldn't call that dude over. But it's like the literal worst person in the world for this. You invite her over?
Yeah, and then obviously the sister is like really distraught, but also, so he makes a deal with the animatronics, and then once he realizes that they want her, he immediately is like, no, you can't have her. That's stupid. I don't know why you asked me that. And then all the animatronics or all the ghost kids are just like, all right, I guess we'll kill you then.
Why were they like?
And they all start attacking him. and like mauling him in his dream. But
they're kids,
again,
dude. Beat them up.
That either means that in Ghostland they can actually attack him like Freddy Krueger, or that means that all of the animatronics are just standing over his sleeping body and mauling him and not killing him, which makes less sense, honestly. Anyways, he wakes up severely injured. I think he tries to flee, and Freddy almost kills him, but he manages to get outside.
He gets stuck here somehow.
Yeah, I think he like flees and then like passes out from blood loss and wakes up like a police medical station. I think she said it was, which I don't think that sounds like bullshit to me. Like I don't think
pulled that out of her ass.
I've never heard of anything like maybe the military would have like a medical station. Or she called it like some kind of like depot or something like that.
What happened was she got a medic supply depot or some shit like that. What happened before that was he got attacked, and it cuts to his sister at home. It cuts to the bitch aunt, and then it shows like Golden Freddy behind her, and then Golden Freddy is like in her room, and he invites her to go. Did Freddy walk there?
So hold on, I want to. In the games, Golden Freddy does not have an exoskeleton. It's just a loose suit. It can't move, but it's like Ghost will appear very rarely to like interact with the player as just like a jump scare. In the movie, however, Golden Freddy is capable of moving around freely like any of the other animatronics. Golden Freddy is really, really hard to distinguish from regular Freddy because their color is really close. And for whatever reason...
Yeah, I could not tell that wasn't Freddy.
Despite being able to like actually move around and touch things, Golden Freddy is still exclusively a ghost. Like, Golden Freddy can teleport and is not bound to the pizzeria like he is in the video games. He's very, 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 very different from movie and video game. He has actual weight. At one point, he gets into a taxi, and the whole taxi like almost tips over from how heavy he is. He can actually touch people. He kills the aunt.
Corey Kenshin is the taxi driver.
Yeah,
and he's for some reason not questioning the fact that this robot monster is escorting this child.
First, a kid got into his taxi, and he was just like, "Where are we going, kid?" And she's like 6, and then a giant robot gets into the seat next to her and like almost pops the tires on one half of his car, and he's like, "This is normal."
You're just gonna drive with this fat fuck in your car, dude? Really?
Yeah, makes no sense.
I wonder what Corey Kenshin's fucking catchphrase that he inserted into the scene was.
I didn't know who Corey Kenshin was until this movie.
I still don't know who he is.
Yeah, I'm very unclear. I saw him the one time, and I'm probably gonna forget him. So Golden Freddy shows up, murders the aunt.
You don't see that. You don't even see her body afterwards.
You just see her like on the ground. Like you just see her feet.
You just see her feet sticking out from behind it, like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Then the girl gets taken to the pizzeria. And
that's when what's his name wakes up in the.
Well, hold on. Don't get over there yet. That's so the protagonist is, or were you going to talk about the protagonist?
I just wanted to mention, like, why didn't the cop take him to a hospital? Why did she drag him to some random supply depot? She's not on the run from the law. She is the fucking law.
Yeah.
Take him to a hospital and get his wounds treated.
Yeah, also, why'd you have to go somewhere else? Like, all you needed to do was bandage him. It's not like you had to, like,
what did they even do to him?
They just put gauze on him.
No, I mean, what did the animatronics do to him
that was so bad for him? Cut him shallowly multiple times?
Just run like a fucking, like, envelope through the webbing of his fingers. Like, ow!
That is actually cursed. But, anyhow.
Yeah, that would make me give up.
Yeah, I'd
Fuck
be like,
this,
all right.
You can have my sister. I can't put a Band-Aid on this, you assholes.
So, while he's, like, in... Like, only now that she's, like, kidnapped him to, like, take care of him. Only now is he like, wait, who are you? And then she starts talking. She like reveals the truth, and it turns out she's Purple Guy's daughter.
I'm William Afton. Yeah, she was like revealing to him that. Isn't this where she revealed that their bodies are hidden inside of the things?
I think so.
She's like he had to hide them in the one place no one would ever look.
Because
like,
why would they?
Why wouldn't they? Look inside of those things. That's where they went missing.
Yeah, also corpses start smelling pretty early on in being a corpse.
That was covered in the lore of the game, and that's why the animatronics look so fucked up, is because of all the pus and fucking necrotic fluids leaking out of them.
Yeah, they talked about how maggots and stuff would drop out of the animatronics, and that's part of the reason.
No one was suspicious of that in the lore.
No, that's part of the reason they got shut down, is because the animatronics were gross. But yeah, and he was just like, you knew about my brother? And I was like, there's way deeper concerns here than just your brother right now. You're super dead. And
did the hallucination where he was offered the wager of like, give us your sister and you can stay here with your brother?
Was that a question?
Yeah, didn't that happen like before this, or did that happen like before he woke up?
Yeah, that's when he got attacked. He refused, and then they started attacking him.
What kind of wager is that exactly? Like, this dude... First of all, this guy is way too gay for his brother, because he actually considered that fucking wager for a second. He came to realize how stupid it was, but the fact that they were able to prey on it, and it almost fucking worked, it's like, dude, get the fuck over your brother already. Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Yeah, like, his brother was, like, significantly younger than his sister was.
The movie gave us no reason to care about his brother.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that it was the main character's motivation.
Yeah, it made no sense whatsoever.
Does William Afton even... I guess I'm kind of jumping forward here, but does William Afton even explain, like, why he kidnapped his brother or what he did with him?
No.
No, cool.
Yeah,
that was a good resolution to that plot.
That's something that I find kind of frustrating, actually. So, all right. So she reveals that she is Purple Guy's daughter.
Whoa.
And she knew that her dad kidnapped and killed his brother. And then they have their emotional falling out. They go and have their big conflict for the end of the movie. The sister's about to get killed by the animatronics or something like that, because that's their deal. They wanted to keep her or something. And then but the police officer has like a change of heart that didn't really seem all that deserved, where she's like,
wait a minute,
here, if you electrocute the animatronics, we can escape, because the animatronics will short circuit.
and again, we talked about this, not how that works.
They're covered in fucking fiberglass.
They also demonstrated that they're not weak to electricity by touching that guitar all the time. So, very not the case.
Whatever, he goes in there and he goes like full Willy's Wonderland on them.
I don't even know what that means.
That's the like Nick Cage Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff, where he was actually a badass. Yeah, he transmogrifies into Nick Cage and starts killing all of these not even killing them. He just like fucking gives them boo-boos and they go sit down in the corner.
Yeah, he electrocutes them and then they just fall over uselessly, which like again eliminates pretty much all the threat they ever faced.
I love how he enters a fucking like ventilation duct in order to sneak into this place and exits right in front of both of them.
Yeah, loudly too. Like he just drops the grate on the floor. But after he defeats all the animatronics, then fucking Shaggy comes out dressed in his Springtrap mech armor. It's literally power armor. Like at one point, I think
Springtrap was not alluded to at all. Except for, there was one point where Springtrap was alluded when she reveals, I'm William Afton's daughter, something I was making jokes about previously. Like, there's no way they're going to go with a plot this stupid, right? And they did.
Yeah, of course they did.
And she pulls out, I'm William Afton's daughter. And to prove that, she pulls out a picture of her, of like kid her and William Afton dressed as Springtrap. And is like, this is your... Who's William Afton? This is a guy in a costume.
That could be literally anyone under there.
Was that supposed to prove something?
Also, for whatever reason, Springtrap is already, like, fucked up at this point. Like, he's got, like, weird cuts in his costume. And
I think it's implied that he wears that as... He literally wears it as, like, power armor.
Yeah, but, like, what is he fighting? Sharks?
Fucking kids with swords, I guess. Like, in order to be fair, he just hands the kids, like, a Spartan spear and shield.
That's why Foxy's got that hook hand, because he's swashbuckling. But he's, like, missing an ear. He's got, like, the like... cut down the whole like half of his suit, which is I don't understand where that came from. They don't talk about it.
For some inexplicable reason, he has total command of the puppets, which is not how the lore went.
Yeah, he had to like trick them and hide from them all the time. Which
they killed him the moment they
moment they had their freedom, they
fucking yeah. But in this one, this is after they've been knocked out with electricity. He just goes, guys, get up. And they all get up simultaneously. Yeah. Wasn't he also held down by that stupid fucking cupcake for like 5 minutes?
He wasn't held down.
It like bit onto his leg.
You're jumping ahead a little bit.
Yeah, I am. But
so he comes out like dressed in his power armor. And I keep saying power armor. I'll tell you why in a minute. But he comes out dressed in the power armor, and he... Oh, I forgot to mention earlier. The animatronics were planning on putting the sister into a Springtrap suit, and that's how they demonstrate the Springtrap suit. And
did they do that with the other kids?
No.
Why did they want to do that to her?
I don't know. In the games,
stupid, man.
The Springtrap suits aren't meant to, like, they don't have like a bear trap in the chest. It's just the parts that make the suit move out of the way in order to let a body fit inside. But they're spring loaded so that like if springs give out, the parts just pop back into place and crush you.
Levi,
that's the whole thing. In this one, there's a metal rib cage with hinges, and if you touch it, the rib cage snaps closed, just killing whoever was in it. They're just straight up blades. They're not. There's nothing like special about them. It seems very deliberate.
It looks like a torture device.
Yeah, it's weirdly deliberate.
Which I guess it does become one. Ooh, foreshadowing.
Ooh. But that was their plan, and so that was
to inexplicably
thwarted.
Shove this child into an adult-sized suit. Probably wouldn't even have killed her.
No,
if they don't have if she's not like fully stuffed into that.
Yeah,
I don't know why they didn't do that the night before. Like, they were just hanging out with her just fine, and for some reason they weren't gonna kill her. But then on that night, for some reason, even though he rejected the fucking deal, they decided they were gonna kill her anyway, even though nothing was stopping them before.
Yeah, they're kind of slow.
They're very stupid and inconsistent.
Yeah, they're pretty dim. But basically, Springtrap comes out like a WWE wrestler. He walks in from like a dark room with like that like swagger, like the like arms out, like
exaggerated Spider-Man swagger.
Yeah, walks out like he's gonna like fucking suplex somebody. They have like this big, I don't know. He wakes up all the animatronics, and then there's like this ha ha ha, and he pulls off the helmet. And reveals that it was Shaggy all along. Who could have guessed? Literally anyone with any amount of like any brain cells.
Yeah, like obviously he was going to be Purple Guy, but I don't think the movie teased that at all. Like, the movie didn't intentionally foreshadow that whatsoever.
No, they just made him suspicious.
As long as you're not a literal fucking like ringworm puking your own stomach onto the ground, I think you could guess that he was going to end up being Purple Guy.
Yeah,
but the movie doesn't do any work whatsoever to like tease that or allude to it or foreshadow it at all.
Nothing. He's just super suspicious in the beginning, and it's super obvious. And that's it. It's not foreshadowed.
And then the daughter comes up and is like, Dad, I've helped you kill 6 kids so far. Or, I've helped you kill 5 children so far, but 6 is my breaking point.
Yeah, and then she tries to betray him and shoots him in the gut, and it just deflects off of his power armor, and he's like, whatever, and then stabs
Shoot him
her.
in the head. He's not wearing his helmet right now. Even if he were, that would probably knock him out and you would be fine.
Yeah, and he just stabs her, and then walks off.
It's like, wow, real nice of you to not just shoot to kill this guy who clearly cared so much about you.
Yeah. Also, when she starts when she shoots him, not only does it not affect him because he's wearing power armor.
6 kids is one too many, Dad. I can't count that on one hand.
But he says you were supposed to keep an eye on him and kill him if he learned too much.
Kill him immediately.
All right.
Why are you keeping him alive?
That means she was complicit from the beginning, which means that... So his plan...
She's been helping him this whole time, probably.
In the games, you were just a security guard. He wasn't sending you there to die. He wanted somebody to keep an eye on the animatronics. He didn't care if you died, but he did want you to just keep an eye on the animatronics. In this one, it's somehow part of his plan to kill you using the animatronics and doesn't just do it on the first night. I don't know why he just decided to have the main character just walk around doing his job for a while. I really don't understand what his plan was, but at the end...
He didn't have a plan. They just pretended he did for some reason in that scene.
Yeah, but also...
That was the plan.
The cop was in on it the whole time. The cop helped murder and cover up multiple other murders. It helped murder a bunch of kids, and then covered up a bunch of murders like the ones that we saw earlier in the movie.
She knew her dad was doing this and was okay with it, even though she could have easily stopped him.
Yeah, and then throughout
Walk
this movie,
up with your Glock, put a bullet in his brain. He's not immortal.
Yeah, there's and then they have the gall to try to make that her redemption point. It's like you.
I decided not to kill this one because it's white. 3 of the other ones were white. She's just like, what? No! I was all on board for the Foxy one, but this is too much to bear.
But, so she, in the same breath that she's like, I'm not helping you anymore, she's also, admitting to helping him murder several children and cover up multiple murders and betraying the main characters and planning on getting him and his sister murdered.
And in exchange for her loyalty, he fucking stabbed her in the gut immediately for going against his nonsense plan that didn't exist.
Yeah. So
good thing you did all that, huh?
Yeah, it was a garbage payoff. There was no reason for her to be redeemed. The babysitter from earlier had a way better case for redemption. Way better.
She committed a way smaller sin and got the most brutal death in the movie.
Yeah, it made no sense.
I lied for money. Oh, I've killed 5 children and assisted a serial killer in avoiding capture, even though I'm a cop.
Yeah,
she was actually a cop.
Yeah,
why did she not stop him?
It wasn't revealed that she was disguised as a cop. She literally was. She is a cop, and it's nothing.
Even though the main character is just an emotionless blob of cells, she's the worst character in this movie.
Yeah,
just
easily.
From a pure writing standpoint.
Easily.
Which, by the way, I don't blame the main actor for his character sucking at all. I blame this director, because if anything, everything else about this movie is any indication, this director has no fucking clue what they're doing.
I feel like this actor was I know he can do better because we've seen him do better in other movies. I feel like he wasn't taking this role seriously, because why would he? But also, he still played the part. He still collected the paycheck. So it's I don't know. I want to give him some credit for I wouldn't take this movie seriously either. But it's still a bad role, man.
We're getting a bit far afield of the dumbest part of this movie, which was how William Afton gets defeated. Apropos of nothing, inexplicably, for no reason whatsoever, the little girl, like, hangs up a drawing, and for some reason, that makes all the animatronics go, wait a minute! That's the guy who killed us!
Alright, hold on. So, earlier in the movie, she mentions in, like, passing that the animatronics like her drawings, and that they seem to, like, understand it better.
Oh, that was all the explanation given to that, huh?
Yeah, and then she drew a picture of Springtrap murdering a bunch of kids, and then she goes to hang it up on a wall, and Springtrap just, like, watches her do that.
Doesn't try to stop her. Doesn't...
But, like,
why isn't he, like, commanding the...
He doesn't try to stop her, because why would he? He has no reason... he has no reason to believe that her hanging up a picture on the wall is going to do anything. He just kind of, like, looks at her like, are you even aware of what we're doing here?
What was even the picture she hung up?
Then the question becomes, if he didn't know that pictures could help control them, how is he controlling them? Like, if he doesn't know how the animatronics work... how is he controlling them in the first place? But anyways, she puts up the picture. The animatronics are like, oh yeah, I guess he did kill me. And then they go to attack him.
They do nothing, by the way.
They just stand in a circle around him and then launch the cupcake. The cupcake. They launch the cupcake at him. It lands on his ribs and rips open, like, the side of his armor.
Which, for some reason, caused the entire suit to malfunction. And start doing the, like, squishing him from the inside, but it's even lamer in this than it was in the 8-bit version in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 game.
Yeah, in the 8-bit version,
Or 3.
In the 8-bit version, all the ghosts gather around him, and he's so scared that he hides in the Springtrap suit in order to, like, scare them off.
But the suit itself was already fucked up.
Water drips on the suit, causing the Springtrap, or causing the locks to pop, and you see all the you see him jerk, and blood starts shooting out of him because he just got filled with a bunch of metal parts. And then he collapses and dies.
In this one,
kind of horrific, despite being 8-bit. In this one, those like bladed ribs,
they kind of just squeeze him tightly, and he goes, ooh, owie, ouch, owie, and he, like, sits down, and he's like, well, he sits down like his tummy hurts or something.
And he's, like, still mostly fine.
Yeah.
Also, I think, like, a piece that, like, while this is all going on, the building just starts, like, rumbling and falling apart.
Yeah, the building starts crumbling for no fucking reason at all.
Yeah, and a part of, like, the ceiling falls on him and, like, doesn't crush him because, again, he's wearing power armor. A piece of the whole building fell on him, and he was just like, whatever. How does he have this technology? Why did he make just, like, children's animatronics if he has the ability to make actual power armor?
Why does he control the suits exactly? Because he never did anything with that.
I don't know.
He just told them to all go into that room, and that was all they did with it.
I have no idea. After that, they, like, drag him off into the back, into, like, the parts
back
room.
Rooms.
I keep trying to avoid the word back rooms, because I know that's where that's going. But they drag him back into, like, the parts room, and
I don't think we even mentioned that he, like, found the fucking idiot, like, found the dead bodies from throughout the story.
Oh yeah, like they just
really adds up to nothing.
Yeah, because
he doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, he sees the babysitter cut in half on the ground with a bunch of other dead bodies.
Maybe he's like that because of his sleeping pills. Like, they just fried his fucking brain.
Whoa, that's my babysitter. What are
Who's
you doing
that?
Just fucking Jeff
I don't
Fisher.
know who any of these characters are.
Just Jeff Fisher.
Don't bring up Jeff Fisher. I don't need to be reminded that fucking turd exists.
But anyways, so after that, that's like the conclusion of the movie. The main character, I guess, just gets like a better job or something like that. I think he's still out of the job at the end of the movie.
I don't remember them explaining that.
Yeah, he loses his job because he
like the
Obviously,
whole building
the fucking
collapsed.
building collapsed while he was watching it.
Yeah, the cop is like comatose in the hospital, and then him and
How
his
does
sister.
being stabbed in the stomach make you go comatose?
Yeah, it wouldn't. That you'd be at risk of infection.
They carried her out of there. She was fine.
Yeah, like if you got stabbed in the stomach, there's a reasonably high chance that you die, but the chance that you die is from infection.
If
like,
you go,
a gut wound is very prone to infection. So if you don't get an infection, you're not going to die.
If you make it to like medical personnel, it's pretty much a guarantee that you'll survive getting stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah, and you certainly won't be comatose from it, which she was. So
Did they
I
have
assume,
any fucking clue? Like they had no clue what to do with her.
Yeah, she just comatose, and then him and his sister just like treat her like she's their best friend still, despite knowing that she
she's
was
a serial killer. She is also culpable for those deaths.
Yeah, like
She
very
helped her
much
dad
so.
do all that shit.
Yeah, very, very much so. And then, like, they're still just, like, totally fine with it. They gloss over all that. And
They don't acknowledge the fact that his bitch aunt is just rotting, decomposed in his house.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
they don't
surprised
touch
if
base on that at all.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was an end credit scene where he's like just like living life normally and the bottom of his floor is stained with like necrotic fluid because he's been walking through her decomposing corpse for weeks and he's so zonked out from his sleeping pills that he just hasn't noticed. They don't acknowledge that. They don't.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
But,
to be clear, there was like a conversation between the social worker and him for a couple minutes, but we were all roasting the movie at this point, so I don't know if they addressed whether or not he got a new job or not.
no, I don't think
But-
they did. So at that point, the social worker is talking about how much better he's doing, like how like his sister's like cares so much about him and how their relationship is doing so much better. And at that point is when we were like, wait, isn't he now out of a job? Isn't that the whole reason this whole problem started in the first place? But also back, like, another point on the cop who's now comatose, and them just being chummy with her. The babysitter that was like working for free and was just like hanging out with them constantly, they don't even address ever again after that.
That
like,
plot's
their
never
friend,
ever brought up.
like they are not aware that she betrayed them, and they're just like, oh, whatever, I guess
He
she's gone.
saw her dead body and didn't acknowledge it.
Yeah, like,
he
not
might
even
have
the
mentioned
kid.
like I saw blankety blank's fucking corpse, and that was it.
Yeah, and like nothing. They're not like, because also this cop that they're now chummy with was aware of her death. Like she's the cop that would have gone there to investigate. Like, she showed up with the pills earlier in the movie because she had gone to investigate what happened at that building. She found all the bodies, and she was probably the one who dragged them into that room.
By the way, the bodies have been in there for probably days or even weeks at this point, and none of them are decomposed whatsoever.
Yeah, the security guard who died in the very beginning of the movie, who the main character replaced, he was one of the bodies in there. And he's been there that whole time. So, gross.
It's not gross. He looks immaculate.
He had like a chainsaw put on his face, and it looked like he cut himself shaving. But
I don't think
anyways,
any of the injuries, except for her getting bitten in half, would even kill you.
no, definitely not.
Like, those guys would have just had, like, scarred, fucked up faces.
Yeah. So they forgive her, but like don't address that she helped murder their friend.
Probably
and then
his
also-
brother, too, since her dad fucking killed his brother, and she's probably older than him.
Yeah, they don't address any of that. They just forgive her outright. Social workers are just cool with him maintaining custody despite endangering her, neglecting her, and now not having a job, losing a job again.
This job was supposed to be his last straw, which is why he kept going back.
Yeah, and then what else? The animatronics just aren't seen again. Oh, actually, no, they are seen again. There's a scene where you get to see what they're doing in, the building. The building's still standing. They just earthquaked it for no reason. And Springtrap, after days is still alive, squirming on the like in that room.
Oh
back
yeah,
there.
that was shown after he was like, after the fucking like childcare scene or the child services scene, which I'm guessing happens way afterwards.
Yeah, and
So he's
after
just
they
been
went to visit the cop in the hospital while she was recovering. So it's been like a week most likely, and he's still back there just bleeding out.
So he's just like sitting there still with fucking Kellogg's Frosted Flakes for bones. And for some reason the movie ends with like the boy who's supposed to be Freddy like shutting the door on him.
It makes no sense.
The final shot of this movie's really shit, by the way, because the kid who plays Freddy takes up like 90% of the screen and he's completely blurred out. And then he shuts the door, credits start, fucking it finally does Living Tombstone, which
oh my
doesn't
God.
match.
I completely forgot about. So
it didn't match.
Dude.
All the songs in this movie were bad, by the way.
yes,
They didn't sound like they would even be playing in that time period or in that pizzeria. And then out of nowhere, you're just hit with fucking Living Tombstone.
yeah. So they had all this. The game has music. The game has a bunch of different music, a bunch of music tracks that they could have used in a bunch of different points, and they'd never use it. And then they also had the Living Tombstone, a good artist who made like multiple songs about these games exclusively. It wasn't like a metaphor about the games. It was these games. Like the Living Tombstone made songs about these games.
Probably
and
what
they
helped skyrocket its popularity as well.
Yeah, and then they didn't use it. They didn't use any of his music until
I guess he's not
the
really entitled
end
to that.
credits. No. The fans are entitled to that.
That's true. Yeah,
The
we
fans are
definitely
entitled to it. And they, oh my God, they had the nerve to not include him for the entire movie. And then once the credits start to roll, did they add in a Living Tombstone song?
I'm more
The
confused.
disrespect, dude. The disrespect.
I guess there's nowhere else you could have really... Because, like, where are you going to play that song in the 80s, realistically?
They could have used a part of it for a certain
Or just,
scene.
like, the lyrics, like, remix it into, like, an 80s pop song or something.
They-
But that would have required them to give a shit and put some actual effort in.
They could
Jesus
have had
fucking Christ, what is happening right now?
I don't know, man. I'm not paying attention to this crap. They could have like had it in one of the scenes at least. It's not like it would have been like bad for the movie. It's the whole movie is just fan service, and it sucked.
It's
anyways.
supposed to be fan service, but...
It sucked anyways. They could have thrown the Living Tombstone in at random, and it still would have been. People would have lost their shit over it.
I was really confused by the end, because this movie had, like, obviously every movie does this now, so it's not surprising at all, but it had, like, a post-credit scene, but during the credits with Corey Kenshin for some reason, like, he was just that important of a character that they had to reprise him. And doesn't he turn in his fucking balloon boy in his seat?
Yeah, they have like this little balloon boy doll. It's like a bobblehead that like keeps popping up throughout the movie and just like jump scaring people, but it doesn't move or or like make noise or anything. It just pops up. Like the movie plays a noise. I don't know if it makes a noise, but like people just keep getting jump scared by it. And like the end credit scene is Corey Kenshin sitting in his taxi. And then, like, the door opens and closes, and he turns and sees the little bobblehead sitting on the seat next to him. And he's like, oh.
One of, like, 3 fucking jump scares in this movie. Yeah. And it's fucking Balloon Boy in Corey Kenshin's taxi seat.
Yes. Stupid.
Wow, we actually summarized that whole movie.
Yeah.
That's... I guess we should just give our closing thoughts on this.
Movie sucks, don't watch it.
Yeah, it does suck, do not watch it. It's such a fucking tragedy because this movie had a decent budget. And like a decent studio working behind it, and it's clear that whoever they gave the reins to just didn't give a fuck and was kind of just taking advantage of the fact that this movie has a built-in fan base that they knew that were gonna plop their asses in seats. You could have given this movie to, like, so many different fans of this that could have made something great, and instead they hand it off to people who clearly just don't give a fuck, have never played the games, have no clue what the fucking lore is whatsoever. They just know fan service moments that they could plug in and make people point at the screen and go, oh! That's the reason this movie exists, and it's kind of fucking tragic.
Yeah, it's honestly disrespectful.
It's not scary.
It's disrespectful to the fans, disrespectful to the creators that were involved. In my opinion, I guess I can't speak for
Scott
the creators
Cawthon
themselves.
wrote this movie off. He was one of the producers of it. It's not scary. It looks like shit. The acting is terrible. The writing is nonsensical. The directing is bad. The lighting is bad. The sets are too fucking clean.
If you are gonna watch this, don't pay for it.
You should very much, like, find this movie illegally. We are fully endorsing and condoning that behavior. There's really nothing good about this movie now that I look back at it, which is kind of tragic. I was expecting this movie to be bad, to be clear. I would have been pleasantly surprised had it been good, but it was way worse than I imagined it being.
I would have been pleasantly surprised if it was just okay. Like, if it was just, like, 100% fan service, I would have been like, okay, that was at least enjoyable.
It's
But,
not...
like,
This wasn't
it's
even...
not. It's just trash.
This wasn't even just a matter of they got someone who doesn't understand Five Nights at Freddy's to write it. They got people who don't know how to write or speak English, probably, to fucking make this movie.
They got people who didn't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's to make a crap script, and then took people who did know about Five Nights at Freddy's and had them take a backseat. That's what it feels like.
I think the most tragic part about this is that people really are pretending that they like this movie.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to do that. You can acknowledge this movie. That's what we did. We acknowledged this movie sucked, but we liked watching it because we were just fucking, like, reaming its anus the entire time. And that was fun.
Anytime one of these, like, cash grab things comes out, like, we experienced the same thing with, like, God of War Ragnarok. When Ragnarok came out, everyone was talking about
first episode.
Yeah. Everyone was talking about how great it was, and again, we were like, why is anyone saying that this is good?
We're smarter than you, basically. We know what we're talking about, and you don't.
Not long after we had like started talking about that, people started coming out with a bunch of videos,
hot takes that were suspiciously like ours. All 38 views of those were just people ripping off our opinions.
To be fair, some of those came out before we released ours. But yeah, so like people always like once something's first released, like whenever some cash grab like this is first released, there's like a trillion people who just cope. There's just tons and tons and tons of people that are just like,
no, this movie
was good. It was good. I paid.
I actually liked the characters. It was heartwarming.
I bought a subscription to Peacock specifically so I could watch this, and it was totally worth it.
Which, by the way, to the internet artist I follow on Twitter who said that this movie was cute and actually influenced me to watch it, fuck you. Nothing about this movie was cute or had personality whatsoever.
It was garbage. Garbage.
I'm really disappointed by people pretending this movie is good. I know everyone does that because they want to feel validated in either their purchase or the time they spent doing this, but you guys do not have to pretend this movie's good. Please do not do that.
Yeah, you didn't make it. You have no responsibility to this movie.
You can still like things that are bad. It's okay.
Yeah, like I'm a really big fan of Power Rangers, and I am well aware, not Super Sentai. I haven't watched Super Sentai. I'm tempted, but I'm specifically Power Rangers, and I'm well aware that it is not great.
Everything I like is good, so I can't take part in that.
Baki.
That's pretty much my closing thoughts.
Wait, are we gonna do? Should we comment on Moist?
What was this one?
Probably...
There was not a whole lot to respond to with Moist. I just wanted to point out. Let's see if I can play this.
Who's not already a fan of the property is going to hate. And now that I've seen it, I think that's probably pretty accurate. So
He made a few points in this that I want to respond to.
So, what I really liked about the film is the main character.
Alright, pause it.
Josh Hutcherson.
Why
Right
did
there. Right there. What I really liked about this movie was the main character.
This movie
Terrible
has the
take.
worst fucking main character I've probably ever seen. He has no personality. His facial expression never changes. He's a cunt. He's a fucking big, fat, floppy cunt. Did I mention that he's a cunt? He's just... This main character is a fucking lobotomite who's also an asshole. There's nothing about him that's likable.
Yeah, he's incompetent. He's a fucking dick. He's psychotic.
Is the best part of this film. He also happens to be a fellow
No, keep going. Just talk over him.
star of mine.
Yeah, Moist, this is a terrible take. Like, I don't watch a lot
He's
of
got a
Moist.
million of them.
I don't watch a lot of Moist Critical, but like I like Moist Critical. He seems like a cool dude. This is a terrible take.
He is cool, but his opinion, his media takes are fucking... They range from either, like...
To this day, all these years,
They range from either milquetoast to Garbo, and there's no in between.
to that point in time, in his
I mean, if this is any indication, then yeah, that's definitely the case.
Which-
'Cause this is an awful take, man.
That is his... He really only has two takes. The other one was that he thought the animatronics were great, and I think they look like shit, and I don't know why a lot of other people think they look good. They don't. Stop telling yourself they do.
The animatronics in this
There's
are-
really not a whole lot to even respond to this.
Well, the animatronics in this are real suits. Like they're real people in suits, and they look worse than the animated game that was made years ago.
The fucking game characters had more weight to them than these real life people that have to act out their walking.
Yeah, if they had just made them actual like mechanical puppets, they would have been more believable, and they probably would have been cheaper, honestly, because you wouldn't have had to pay for an actor.
He kind of agrees with everything else we said. Like, he gave this movie like a 40%, so it's not that good. So
I wouldn't give it a 40%.
I would give this movie like a 2 probably.
I wouldn't go that low. It didn't like.
It was a 2.
It
This
didn't
movie
make
fucking
me-
sucks ass.
It didn't make me suicidal. But
Really?
That's probably because I'm not very.
That's
invested.
impressive willpower, man. Because I cannot say the same. I wanted to die this entire fucking runtime.
I would like if 50% is a failing grade, I would say I would say I'd give this a 20% at best.
That is 2 out of 10, you Neanderthal.
I thought you said 2%.
No, not 2%. I said 2 out of 10.
Okay. Then I agree.
All right. That pretty much summarizes everything I have to say about this movie. It fucking sucks, and stop pretending it's good. It's not good, and you know it.
Yeah,
You'll
it's-
be saying it's not good in 6 months.
It's okay to not enjoy this like corporate crap. Oh yeah, what was the studio that released this?
This was Blumhouse.
Yeah, Blumhouse. So, like, all right, I think Blumhouse is a really good example of, I want to say capitalists, but I don't want to sound like a loser.
Because you will if you do that.
Yeah, but, like, I think this is a good example of, like, getting rich, like a get-rich-quick idea that is actually a good idea. Like, it actually helps people. Like, Blumhouse's idea is to just fund whoever wants to make a movie. Just give them a low budget, and just anyone who has a movie idea, he just throws money at it.
They're pretty much just money monkeys. I don't think they had anything to do with the making of this movie.
No, he didn't. But, like, I wanted to comment on Blumhouse at some point. I knew we'd talk about one of his movies at some point, but I wanted to talk about how this is actually a really good idea. Just giving anyone the chance to make a low-budget movie that can be viewed by anyone is a really good idea on multiple levels, because you're giving people the ability to carry out their dreams, whether it turn out to be good or not, and you're also exposing a lot of people to potentially art. Like, all around the world, there's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of artists that will likely never be able to produce the art that they want to, or get that art to the audiences that would appreciate it. But what Blumhouse is doing allows for those artists to be able to release that work. Like, I think Poltergeist? No, not Poltergeist. Paranormal Activity was a huge success, made by Blumhouse. I think it was made by Blumhouse. There's more movies made by Blumhouse, but he's made a lot of bad ones, but that's to be expected when you're just funding anyone. And he's made a lot of like smaller creators, really well known. Some of the more popular, like he's made a lot. He's produced a lot of very popular movies using this method, and I wanted to give him some props on that, just because it's a good idea, and I think more people should have ideas like this, because I think it could really it would make the world better for artists and for consumers of art. And it could even be applied to things that aren't strictly art. But
it would have been way better. I blame Scott Cawthon for this, and whoever directed this piece of shit the most, because Scott Cawthon should have absolutely, added his creative hand into this far more. He was probably using it to give fucking crooked politicians money, the sack of shit.
What did he do again?
It was just found out that he was giving a bunch of money to, Republican politicians, and it's like, people were like, oh, you hate him just because he fucking disagrees with your politics? And it's like, no, they hate him because he's helping to destroy the world. Like, those politicians he gives money to are the worst fucking demons that walk the earth today, and he should fucking feel ashamed for helping continue their careers. But I'm not gonna get into that gay shit here. I just want to say, Scott Cawthon, I don't think gives a fuck about this series anymore. He just goes to his fucking bank account and checks the extra zero it adds to it every other month. So he probably did fuck all for this property except collect a paycheck. But they should have had at least gotten people who give a shit about this property on. Or if the people who did make this movie gave a shit about this property, they're incredibly talentless and incompetent, and they still should never have gotten the reins to this.
I don't know how you could make this and care about it.
There's plenty of people who care a lot about this series.
You'd have to be actually handicapped.
I don't care about this series that much. I was obsessed with the lore for a couple of years, and then I stopped when I realized that Scott Cawthon has no fucking clue what he's doing. So
I think that's most people, most people in our generation that's the
I made it up to
the path.
I made it up to the fourth game before I realized oh my god, this is going nowhere, so I gave up. But this series still matters a lot to people, and it's just a little tragic to see it handed off to complete fucking chimps like whoever made it.
Yeah, I was following along with all the game theories for the first game, a bit into the second, tapering off by the third, and then a glance at the fourth.
Let's see. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say. You got anything you want to add?
Nothing about this. Did
all
you
right.
want to talk about...
There's nothing else I want to talk about. I think we're pretty much golden. Alright, well, with that out of the way, let's see what's happening in this.
People are gonna be mad this isn't the same.
No,
Funny
don't.
joke.
Let's see this.
Funny.
This is somebody else's video for one. It's also AIDS. I don't want to watch this.
I want to see what happens here.
Watch
at
it.
least.
No.
No.
Watch it after
I want to
this.
see. I just
No.
got to see this nonsense real quick.
No. No.
Wait. No. God damn it. Alright, we're back before I was so rudely interrupted.
I still don't think it's a good idea to just watch this person's video.
Who gives a fuck what this moron makes?
Clearly YouTube favorites the FNAF community. Especially the cringe side.
And clearly we're part of the FNAF community because look what's on our channel right now.
No, you see, we curse.
That's true. We're not made for literal babies. Fucking
like
sperm cells slithering on the ground. Wow, Five Nights at Freddy's.
made for babies, but has full frontal nudity and inflating boobies.
That's the part that's... You're trying to instill sexual fetishes in them so that they keep coming back to you. And have this stupid franchise permanently etched into their brains.
Yeah, we don't groom children, so we're not
we don't
welcome in the Five Nights at Freddy's community.
We don't groom kids to steal their parents' credit cards, so YouTube doesn't like us. Let's see what... Alright, I want to try sitting through one of these videos. Alright, Levi. Are you ready to try... Don't do these. Levi?
Grin? Don't
Try not to laugh or grin. I didn't actually read that.
They think this is funny?
Someone does. This bunch of stupid fucking kids do, apparently, because this has how many? 11 million views?
The entire... Alright, so...
Jesus fucking Christ. I did not know I was watching something like that.
Before we even started recording the podcast, he kept playing these videos.
They are
at
complete...
full volume.
They are unadulterated cancer.
Yes, and I repeatedly told him I would leave the room if he did not stop playing them, and he didn't
Which I kept
stop.
playing.
And eventually, I went to stand up, and then he stopped for like a minute, and then
when he came back,
playing.
I kept playing them, which is what I'm about to do now.
Yeah.
Levi, I have to repeat, don't laugh or grin, dude.
I am definitely not going to laugh.
I probably am, but not in the way that's intended.
I'm not going to grin either. I'm angry that you're even putting this on.
When I laugh, it's going to be because I'm laughing at the downfall of our species in a maniacal, like, Saturday morning cartoon villain sort of way. Alright, let's do this. Don't laugh or grin, Levi. I'm telling you. My brain feels like it's buzzing right now.
I can feel my kidneys failing.
My organs are starting to detach from my body to kill me. Wow. That was hilarious. Children should not be allowed to watch this shit. If you let your kid, like, unsupervised watch this crap, you're a bad parent and your kids should be taken away from you like the main character of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yes. If you're wondering why...
I'm not sitting through any more of that. There's no fucking way.
Vaccines don't cause autism. This does.
Vaccines don't cause autism. FNAF and Sonic do.
It was Sonic and now it's FNAF.
Alright. Now, hold on. Might as well have something on the screen. Alright, with that, that concludes this week. Awesome. Alright, go away now.
Goodbye.